So this is a meeting in which we have some updates on a couple of projects that we shared with you a few months back. Those are moving forward. The project to upgrade our speaker system in this room, and then to kind of grow and adapt our gathering spaces beyond this room. So I'm going to actually finish right here and kick off by handing the baton to Jack Bonacroy. Jack is then going to bring forward Doug Alons, and then Doug is going to send it to our Deacon Chair, Eric Van Ravenhorst. And they'll be sharing with you kind of in three headings. Here's what we have learned, here's what we still don't know, and here's how it impacts you as congregants. So be listening for those three things.
Thanks, Pastor Tim. So I'm here to give you a quick update on our sound reinforcement system, as we've sort of been termed. We had a great meeting with Levi from RDI, the company that is helping us replace the speakers in this space. So a couple things for you to know. They already have 65% of the equipment in their warehouses, which is a great start to this. That was always kind of the worry getting started, is with supply chain issues around the globe, whether we'd get equipment on time. So the fact that 65 or 70% of that is already here is a really good start. They're shooting for a timeline, actually, of getting this project done this summer, which has been a real relief to us. We were concerned for a while, excuse me, that it might extend into 2024, but they plan to let us get through the Easter season and also through Tulip Festival, and they hope to begin work in earnest in June and July and have a working system for us by middle of August so that we can start back in full already in September. So that's a real positive and a real relief to those of us working on this. So that leads to kind of some of the things we don't know then. There will likely be a few Sundays that this space will be unavailable for worship. So we're working on, the consistory and Pastor Tim are working on other venues, other spaces that we can worship for those Sundays. We'll just have to be flexible. We don't know the timeline of those for sure at all. We do have a couple other events happening, weddings, hymn of the month, those sort of things that this space will need to be used. And RDI will provide a temporary sound system in those events in case this is under construction at those times. So kind of part of what we don't know, part of what we do, but there will always be speakers in here if there are events that need to happen. Otherwise, that's pretty much the update I have on the sound system. So Doug, take it away.
All right, thanks, Jack. Probably the second part of this project, we are looking at doing some upgrades to the fellowship hall, the gathering space. That will be happening soon. We're going to start with the ceiling project and lighting project. We're going to install some new LED high efficiency lighting, get a continuous flow ceiling through here. That will be starting potentially this coming week. We are working with Bruce Vanderstelt and the project pros have agreed to do that project along with Notable Electric for this first phase. We are also going to be replacing the curtains with some powered roller shades. So that is underway. Bruce indicated he might be doing some work kind of behind the scenes in the next week or two and potentially doing some hallway work, but we're hoping to keep the mess to a minimum short term. And then we'd take the week of Easter off and then probably hit it in earnest after that. I guess that's as far as what we know up front. The first project, what we did learn looking into this, the bathroom updates that we were hoping to do kind of a facelift on, we've since learned that they do need to be brought up to ADA compliance, so that is going to be a little bit more of a tear down and remodel than we had first thought. And we're kind of shifting that into a summer project. If we can get all the bids and contractors pulled together, we're hoping probably June, July for that time frame. So that's kind of phase two. We hope to do, if our budget allows and we can get all these projects to pull together, potentially doing the ceiling in the kitchen as well, and that work area in there, get that all updated, and potentially some flooring upgrades as well. So that's what we do know. Don't know is the, as far as availability of some of the products, may or may not be a delay. We're hoping things can be done on this timeline. Might be a little bit of a hit and miss when Bruce is working in the fellowship hall. There might be a bank of lights that don't work or some of the ceiling panels out. But we're going to try to have as much of the mess cleaned up each Sunday as possible. And as far as Jack had mentioned in here, I think we've got the electrician, and Bruce has agreed to do some of the general work in here as well, but there might be times, when we see a hole in the ceiling and some things aren't quite patched up yet. But other than that, we ask for your patience. We appreciate your continued support on this, and I guess I'll turn it over to Eric.
All right, so I don't really have as much informational as much as I just want to speak on behalf of the consistory and just continue to say thank you. We are just blown away by the continued generosity of the congregation. As you can see in your bulletin, again, we are doing very well compared to budget, which allows us to do a lot of these types of necessary upgrades to the church. So on behalf of the consistory, again, I just want to say thank you for trusting and believing in us as we continue to look at what's the priorities for our church. And I guess at the end of the day, if there are any questions that anybody has, Doug, Jack, myself will be up here or out in the fellowship hall if you guys have any specific questions and in regards to any of the things talked about. I think the one thing that didn't get mentioned through the speaker update is if we do have to leave for an extended period of time from a worship standpoint, we would likely look at going to the night center as a temporary worship space. That would give us the best opportunity to continue to have a lot of the programming that we currently offer with room options and space and parking. So if we get to that point, that is likely going to be where we go. More on that to come as we know more of what we're going to be dealing with. And likely we would go to one service on Sunday morning at the night center if we did that. So again, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to reach out to any one of us, and we will gladly answer what you have. And with that, please go in peace and enjoy the rest of your Sunday.